back with some more Tribal Commander Tribal. Why play one tribe when you can play them all? Next on Commander Replay. Thank you to my awesome Patreon supporters. We have a bunch of new Patreon supporters in Damon Content, New Oldman, and John Foley. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And today's video comes as voted on by Patreon supporters. Alright, welcome back everyone, playing some more Tribal Commander Tribal with General Tazri. Take a look at our opening hand. We've got 3 lands, we've got a mana reflection, and some card draw. I think we're going to go ahead and keep that one. Let's keep. Ooh! Today we are facing off against a Josu Vess Lich Knight, piloted by Chaotix2075, a Patreon supporter. Next up we have Karlov of the Ghost Council, and finally we have an opponent playing Memnarch, which is the one that I was saying, ooh, Memnarch's a little bit scary. We do have a Crux of Fate, so we can blow some stuff up if we need to. We'll probably need to be pretty careful when we time that. We'd definitely like to make sure that Memnarch is in play. Probably Karlov also. So, yeah. Anyway, Josu Vess is going to start it off with a Vampiric Tutor. Sounds good. And it looks like we will be playing last, something that I do not particularly care for, but that's what we're going to be doing today. Things like board wipes are a reasonable way to catch you up a little bit if you are playing last. The 2 best things that you can see when you're playing last are loads and loads of mana rocks and board wipes. So our turn 1, we draw into a Dragon Tempest. Sounds good. And I think we just go ahead and play the Stomping Ground tapped. So Karlov of the Ghost Council coming into play. A pretty good black-white life gain commander. The ability to exile creatures repeatedly is pretty good. And then the Memnarch lays down an Ethereum Sculptor. Nice play on their part. Brings it back to our turn. We draw into a Verdant Catacombs. What colors are we missing? We have red-green, we have blue-white, we have black-red. Don't know what we're going for yet. I think we're going to lay down this Tundra and lay down the Dragon Tempest. Here comes a Plague Belcher for our opponent. Comes into play, it gets 2 -1/-1 counters on it, and whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So it looks like it might be a zombie-centric version of Josu Vess. That was kind of how my Josu Vess Lich Knight deck started out, and then over time it slowly morphed into just really hard mono-black control. As a commander, I really do like Josu Vess. It's a sweet deck. In paper, I did switch my Josu Vess deck back to Shieldred for a little while because I started playing against some really strong opponents. And even though I was able to squeak out some wins with Josu Vess, I decided to go with Shieldred just because as long as Shieldred sticks in play, like, most people don't get to keep their commanders, especially in that particular meta because there's not a lot of creatures. It's a very counterspell heavy kind of meta. So if something like a Shieldred's in play, yeah, not a lot of creatures going to be in play for our opponents, so... Anyway, Karlov lays down a Cabal Console of Allocation. That's a pretty good one right there, getting the life gain going. And Trinket Mage for the Memnarch, and that'll bring it back to our turn. Draw into a Wooded Foothills. I think it's going to be the... I'm going to play the Blood Crypt untapped, and then lay down the Rhystic Study. That's going to trigger the Cabal, which will then trigger the Karlov. So Karlov getting some counters on it. So, Noxious Ghoul coming into play for our opponent, and we get to draw with the Rhystic Study. Yes, please. Ooh, that's an Oracle of Moldiah. That is a very good card, especially with multiple lands in hand and 2 fetch lands. So we can reshuffle the top of our library if we need to and try to get max value out of this Oracle of Moldiah. Oracle of Moldiah, really good card, but a lot of variance depending on how you hit your lands on top of your library. So having fetch lands to reshuffle everything and get another crack to get full value can really make a big difference with Oracle. Opponent does send their Plague Belcher into us. We go down to 36. There's a Soul's Attendant for the Karlov, and that's going to trigger the Rhystic Study. Looks like opponent's going to pay for it. Gifted Aetherborn coming down for our opponent, triggering the Rhystic Study once again. This time they do not have mana. And we draw into another land. It's a fetch land. All right. Try to get as much value as we can out of this Oracle of Moldiah. Do need to find a couple more creatures, though. We have the Oracle, and we have 1 tribal creature in hand, which is the Sliver Overlord. So hopefully some more creatures coming soon. Question is, when are we going to lay down this Crux of Fate, and do we want the Oracle of Moldiah now or later? Solemn Simulacrum coming down for the Memnarch opponent. Opponent has no mana available, and we get to draw with the Rhystic Study. Once again, another fetch land, all the fetch lands. A lot of things in play. Starting to think about Crux of Fate more than anything. There's an Azami. That's a pretty good one. It costs 5 mana, sadly, though. If we played Oracle of Moldiah right now, we'd get 2 lands into play, and then when we untap, we'd get 2 more lands into play. That seems pretty good. By that point, Mana Reflection probably takes over. Yeah, even though I'm planning to board wipe, I think we do go for the Oracle of Moldiah right here. So let's lay down this Wooded Foothills, crack this wood. Oop, there's an Urborg in play. We don't even need to crack it just yet. So then play the Oracle of Moldiah. There's a land on top. Play the land. There's another land on top. Play that land also. Oh no, that's the max. So it looks like we're going to draw Mana Confluence next turn. A Cabal. Ooh. Urborg and Cabal Coffers in play for the Josu Vess. That's a very good combo. So Josu Vess probably not too far away. Ooh, maybe we need to hang out on this Crux of Fate for a little while. Open the gates. Oh boy. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Yep. Pretty good zombie card right there. Cabal is going to trigger. Heuristic Study will trigger. We get to draw. And a Captivating Vampire on top of our deck. Finally, some action. Here comes a Phyrexian Arena. We get to draw one more time. We draw the Captivating Vampire. There's our own Urborg. So, oh man, we have so many lands in hand now that, like, don't want a board wipe just yet. Oh, there's a 12/12 Karlov running around, though. Oh, man. Like, I'd really want to keep this Oracle around as long as I possibly can so that we can get all these lands out of our hand into play. Opponent not attacking us with the Karlov. Sweet. Going into the Memnarch opponent. Awesome. Yeah, Memnarch's pretty scary. Opponent will send a Gifted Aetherborn into us. I'm fine with that. So we'll take a hit for 2. Opponent will gain 2 life, and the Karlov will hit Memnarch. Memnarch going to throw the Solemn Simulacrum in front. Yep, makes sense. Stop that 12 damage and get the card draw. And more counters going on to the Karlov. Memnarch saying they don't see a lot of removal anymore. Yeah, that is very true on Magic Online. Very, very true. Karlov opponent saying they had a really good opening start for their Karlov deck with the Cabal and friends. And Memnarch just scoops it up. Well, that's going to change his game a bit. So now we probably need to play that board wipe. So that brings it back to our turn. Levisa Cold Eyes on top of our deck. We draw into the Urborg, so what are we doing right here? We're going to need to get that board wipe down right now, since I'm sure opponent's going to be looking to get frisky with that Karlov. I actually want to draw the Levisa Cold Eyes. We have so many lands in hand that I'm not too worried about cracking fetches right here. So play the Urborg, play the Mana Confluence. So I think it's got to be the Crux of Fate. Destroy all non-dragon creatures. Kamal's going to trigger one time. Opponent's going to exile our Oracle of Moldiah on the way out. Sure. Can't do much about it. So all the creatures getting blown up. Open the Grave is going to trigger twice, and Plague Belcher is going to trigger one time, and gets us for some life. Opponent left with 2 2/2 zombie tokens. Here comes an Undead Warchief. That's actually a really good one. That is a really good zombie. Opponent does not pay for the Heuristic Study. We get to draw one more time. There's that Levisa Cold Eyes. Opponent going to play a Risen Executioner. We get to draw one more time again. There's a Mountain. So many lands in hand. I wish we didn't have to play a board wipe right there. Oh, hey. Those zombies are 5/4s. Ooh. Yeah, those are pretty big. We need another board wipe already. Wouldn't mind seeing a board wipe from the Karlov opponent. 2 zombie lords in play. Yeah, pretty good. Cabal Coffers for the Karlov opponent, so they're going to be able to make a lot of extra mana. Karlov coming back to play. Heuristic Study will trigger. Opponent pays for it. And there's a Wall of Reverence. Ooh, that's nice. I would sign up for one of those right now. That we do get to draw with the Heuristic Study. But we need some blockers, and some life gain would also be nice to slow down the zombie onslaught. A lot of power of zombies. 20 power of zombies on the board right now. Wow. And Josu Vess can't be too far away. I'm going to gain some life with the Wall of Reverence, and that will trigger the Karlov. We draw a Chameleon Colossus. Sweet. So, oh, that's got Pro Black. Yeah, that's big. That is so big. How much mana do we have? Ideally, I want to get this Mana Reflection down, because once we do that, then we can cough a lot of things out of our hand. Ooh, Pro Black also doesn't get shot down by Karlov. Even better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think we'll have exactly enough for the Chameleon Colossus after the Mana Reflection. So play a fetch. Play the Mana Reflection. Ah, crap. Play the Mana Reflection. Play Chameleon Colossus. Ooh, we get a Dragon Tempest trigger off of the Chameleon Colossus. Anything we can shoot. We're going to get a whole 1 damage, so not really. Send it to the face of the Karlov opponent. And then we have to discard when we get to our end step. Let's get rid of I think a fetch land. Chameleon Colossus was a really big draw right there. That's going to at least slow down this first attack right here. And also the fact that it can't be shot by Karlov. Really, really big. Ooh, Feast and Famine, huh? We get to draw with the Heuristic Study. Feast and Famine will help a little. See what opponent wants to do right here. So they equip the Feast and Famine onto the Undead Warchief. Lord of the Undead coming down. Yep, pumping up those zombies even more. We get to draw one more time. There's a Sliver Legion. All right, opponent going to send 2 tokens our way. We can actually block one of the tokens. But they're sending the big ones at the Karlov opponent. Sounds good to me. Opponent's going to block one with the wall. So it looks like no sword trigger for the Undead Warchief. That's probably going to be... Nope. Opponent decided not to? I don't know. Preventing a sword trigger. Yep, okay. Opponent going back. Opponent deciding to block once again. Now our turn to block. We'll block one of these tokens. Still going to get hit for 6. And with the power on board, that is a bit. That is a little bit. So we go down to 24. Karlov down to 33. Trades in their wall so that the sword doesn't hit. I think I would make that trade. Sword of Feast and Famine, especially with Cabal Coffers and Urboard down, is really, really good. No cards in hand for opponent. Ooh, no cards for the Josu Vess. That's a good place to be. Here comes an Athreos God of Passage. Sure. Opponent's got a Vault of the Archangel out. I would love a Vault of the Archangel. We could get a little bit of life gain going. Opponent pays for the Rhystic Study. Here comes an Utter End on the Sword of Feast and Famine. I can get down with that. Opponent pays for the Rhystic Study once again. Still a lot of power. That does mean we can block again, though. That's good. Okay. What are we doing this turn? Kind of like this Brigadier. I like a lot of things. I like a lot of things. We can have 18 mana this turn. What are we doing with 18 mana? That's 5. That's 5. Our commander is 5. That would get us a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that seems reasonable. May need to crack some fetches. We'll see how that goes. So that makes double black, double white. Play the Sliver Overlord. Play the Sliver Legion. We can make 8 more mana. What are we doing with 8 mana? Captivating Vampire is cool. We go like Captivating Vampire Azami. Something like that. Haven't seen any board wipes this game. I don't know if our opponents are playing any board wipes. I assume that one would have come down from the Athreos last turn if they had it, so I'm guessing no board wipes. Crack this Misty Rainforest, get a Volcanic Island, and we'll play the Captivating Vampire. Still not really looking to attack, so I'm just going to pass like that. Next turn we'll just try to go for the big Alpha Strike. Hope for no board wipes. Opponent says, here comes the Lords. Yep. Oh, man. Opponent getting a Return a Zombie to play. Uh-oh. Or does it go back to their hand? Yeah, it goes back to their hand. Sorry. And now it's coming back to play. Whenever it or another zombie enters the battlefield, all non-zombies get -1/-1 until end of turn. That's going to hurt our vampire. If they cast Josu Vess next turn, that'll basically wipe the board. Oh, opponent's out of cards, so okay. No harm, no foul there. Opponent going to swing into the Karlov extra hard. Sweet. Karlov's turn, they get the Phyrexian Arena trigger. They're going to need a board wipe. Well, I guess they could also have a bunch of life gain. A bunch of life gain would turn on Karlov. So some sort of removal is going to be needed. Otherwise, we're going to go crazy on our turn. Here comes an Archangel of Thune. That's life gain. Not fast life gain. Won't be active yet, but if opponent has more life gain, seems pretty good in the Karlov deck. Rhystic Study will trigger one time. We get to draw another land. Man, I really wish we got to keep that Oracle of Moldiah around for an extra turn or two. But we needed to play that board wipe real bad. Athreos, now a creature. We're going to tap our Chameleon Colossus to draw one time. Draw into a Komina. Nice. And we'll tap the Azami to draw one time. And we draw into another land. Oh, that's an Odric. I think that helps. I don't know. We may already be covered in once we give everything Changeling in the way that our deck is built. But just in case we're not. So, time to play our commander. General Tazri coming in. Get our Mirror Entity. Play the Mirror Entity. Dragon Tempest will trigger. Ooh, Noxious Ghoul triggers. Gonna have to be careful with that. Shoot the zombie opponent one time. They have a lot of life right now. Gonna have to not play any more Changelings this turn. I guess if we go Odric Brigadier, that'll give all of our creatures flying, and that seems pretty good. We need a bunch of white mana. Let's get the Lovisa Cold Eyes in. Actually, does anything in play have haste? I think we go Brigadier. Oh, okay. Dragon Tempest will trigger. That'll give the Brigadier haste, which when we play Odric will give everything else haste. All right. We do need triple white. Play the Plateau. Get the Brigadier. Dragon Tempest will trigger again. Gives the Brigadier haste. Let's get the Odric into play. And then we use the Mirror Entity. Sadly, it's only going to be X2, but I think that should still do it. Give everything Changeling. Oh my god, everything's huge. Go to combat. Odric's going to trigger. Everything's going to have haste and flying. All right, send the Colossus there. Send the Sliver there. Send that thing there. Send this over there. That right there. That there. That there. And we'll leave these two back. Saying GG to our opponents. Tribal Commander Tribal. Getting there again. Oh, this deck. And down they go. This deck. This deck is so much better than I ever thought it would be. I mean, 100% it's going to be weak to removal. If someone shoots down the mirror entity, then we're going to be in real trouble because we can't give all of our creatures changeling. But even just having like a couple slivers in the deck and a few other changelings is still pretty strong. Having like a few dragon synergies in the deck is still pretty strong. Oh, this deck. So yeah, I've played 3 games with this deck and I've ended up winning them all. And they weren't super high power games, but this one was a fairly standard mid power game. Not a ton of removal from our opponents, other than the Karlov, which got shot down before they could really get things going. But yeah, like this deck is just, it shouldn't work. It should not work, and yet it does. And it's, I don't know, I just enjoy it a lot. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.